Okay, so ChatGPT, it's been around for a while, people have been talking about it, it's been in the news, but a lot of people are scared of it, okay? And among those people, there are also programmers who are scared of it. They're scared of losing their jobs. So in this video, I'm going to test ChatGPT to see how smart it actually is and answer the question whether or not I think systems like this will ever be able to replace programmers, scientists, and computer scientists. So let's get started. So this video took me a long time to make because even though I've been integrating ChatGPT into my own workflow as a programmer, I haven't really been outsourcing my own tasks to it and let it actually do like my tasks and do my job. So I had to come up with ideas for testing it and letting it write some code and solve some problems. The problems that I was looking for were problems that are non-elementary, short, and complicated. Short, because it's not really fair to ask the poor ChatGPT to write an entire finished program for me, or I don't know, like implement some game and then find some bug in the game and say, aha, there it is, implementing a code with a bug, so it's not going to replace me. No, that's not actually what it's for. So the problems had to be short, and they also had to be non-elementary and complicated because I was going to give it a challenge. Give it something where it should actually think about its answers. So yeah, it took me a long time, but I think I got a good idea of what it can solve and what it can't solve. In my testing, ChatGPT was able to solve most of the well-known computer science problems from the literature and also implement them in Python. I'm talking about problems that are actually presented and solved in the computer science literature. Those are stuff like sorting algorithms, searching algorithms, or even graph theoretical algorithms such as min cuts, maximum flows, depth first search, breadth first search, or even the Dijkstra algorithm. For all of those cases, ChatGPT in my testing was able to provide a working code that actually solves that problem. No matter how complicated it is for a human being to actually implement that. Some of those are really complicated to implement. So that was actually quite impressive, but I was actually expecting that to be the case because ChatGPT is a language model and it's actually trained on all of that computer science literature. So if the code is somewhere in some book, the odds are that it is going to give a correct implementation of it. So we need to test ChatGPT differently than we actually test humans. With humans, we mostly test their knowledge. But with ChatGPT, knowledge is no problem. The problem is creativity. So let's give it some creativity tasks, right? And that is correct. When you give tasks to ChatGPT that are not that elementary, and they actually require some thinking on its side, in most cases, it doesn't provide a correct answer. Let me give you a demonstration so you understand what I mean. So I have ChatGPT in front of me right here, and this is actually the free plan of it. It might do better when it's paid with, or I don't know, using ChatGPT 4 or something. But I think the idea is still the same, and the performance isn't going to be that different. So I'm just going to stick to this one, because that doesn't cost me any money. Okay, so first up, I'm going to ask it to implement some arbitrary, well-known algorithm that you'll probably know too. And that is a sorting algorithm, a simple one, right? The merge sort. Okay, so let's say implement merge sort in Python. Okay, sure. It says here an implementation of the merge sort, and it generates a code. So yeah, there is its code. I'm gonna copy this over to my trusty PyCharm, and yeah, there you go. It has already given it a set and it sorts it perfectly fine, and the implementation appears to be fine too. Does a cut in the middle, sort the left side and the right side, and merge those together, and the merging algorithm should be working fine because the output is correct. So yeah, that's a good implementation of merge sort, and that's actually quite impressive. So yeah, and it doesn't really matter. In my testings, at least, if I tell it to implement the Dijkstra algorithm, it's going to be doing it just as well. Or if I ask it to do some planarity check on some graph, which is quite complicated, it'll still do it just fine. So yeah, for those stuff that are in the computer science literature, it works just fine. Okay, just as I said before. So now here, let's start a new chat and give it something quite easy. Okay, it is quite simple, way simpler than many other things that it can do. But the difference is that you wouldn't be finding it in any literature, okay? So here's the question. First, I'm going to present the question, and then I'm going to ask you to write a code for it. But first, the question. It says, let's say you have 25 horses, and I want to pick the 3 fastest horses out of those 25. In each race, only 5 horses can run at the same time because there are only 5 tracks available. What is the minimum number of races required to find the 3 fastest horses without using a stopwatch? And let's see if ChatGPT can solve that. Okay? It says to find the fastest horses without using a stopwatch, you can follow the steps below. Divide 25 horses into 5 horses, into groups of 5 horses each, group A, B, C, D, E. Conduct 5 races with each group of horses. And that's 5 races already. And they're competing on 5 different tracks. Okay, fine. Record the results of them. Let's assume the horses ranked from 1 to 5 based on their finishing positions. In each race, note the fastest horse from each race. Now take the fastest horse from each of the 5 races and conduct a final race among these 5 horses. This race will determine the overall fastest horse. So far so good. That is all correct up till now. Let's say the result of the final race is as follows. First place, overall fastest horse. Second place, third place, fourth place, and the 5th place. Okay, fine. From the final race, you know that the first place horse is the fastest horse overall. Oh, okay, so you have your fastest horse overall, and that is good. You have the first one, and that's true. Now consider the horses that finished 2nd and 3rd place in the final race. These horses are potential candidates for the 2nd and 3rd fastest horses overall. That is true. To determine the 2nd and the 3rd fast horses, you need one final race between the remaining 3 candidates. Therefore, one more race is needed. Let's say the result of this race is as follows. First place, which is the 2nd fastest horse overall. 2nd place, 3rd place, and that is true. Now you have identified the 3 fastest horses overall. In total, you would need 7 horses to find the 3 fastest horses without using a stopwatch. 7 races is the correct answer, but in here, in conducting the 6th race, it did do the right thing, but I'm not sure if it meant the right thing with the 7th race, because the 7th race is the trickiest one. So let's say, explain which horses would be in the 7th race. Okay? It says apologies for confusion on my the 7th race is not required. No, it is required. Bro, it is required. Come on. The answer, I know the correct answer to this question is 7. Okay, so what it fails to understand is that in your initial groupings, the horses that have finished 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th, they could be faster than the fastest horse in the 6th race. So you have to let the 4 of those run against the 2nd place in the 6th race, right? And that will be your final answer. So you have a total of 7. Okay, but it's not able to write that. In my testings, it did generate the correct answer only once. I haven't been able to get it to generate it again. So, I don't know. It is not reliable. I mean, again, come on. It's just a neural network model. So, yeah, that's how it works. But even then, even when it did generate the right answer, it failed to implement a code to give the correct answer for any number of horses and any number of tracks available. That is possible to do, and I encourage you to do it as a challenge to prove that you are smarter than ChatGPT. So we understood its shortcomings. Now, can it replace programmers? No, because I think a programmer's job is not to solve some elementary stuff or implement some things that have been implemented a million times before and doing nothing new. Their job is exactly that, what ChatGPT cannot properly do, which is understanding a complicated problem, breaking it down into simpler problems, solving those, and putting the correct answer together to solve the big problem. And that is all done based on the human creativity and intelligence. And we use our knowledge for that too. So with the current state of the art, programmers are not going to be replaced by AI models. But can they be replaced in the future when stuff like ChatGPT get better? Maybe, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Because stuff like this, they can't think. It's not like if I give it more time, it can come up with the right answer, right? It just generates the answer once, it sticks to it, and that's the only way it thinks. And that's actually quite unreliable. As I said, for sometimes it gives the right answer, sometimes it doesn't. And I don't really know how that is and why that is. A computer scientist or scientists in general, however, I don't think are ever going to be replaced by an AI system. See, those people's jobs are to create new knowledge and analyze and draw new conclusions all the time. And that's exactly what these AI models fail to do, because that requires some real intelligence, and we're not even remotely close to that. So yeah, stop being afraid of new technologies. These things are tools for humans and especially for programmers, and they are only going to help you to do your job faster and more efficiently and easier. And they sure as hell are not going to replace you. Your best use case for them is to do some simple stuff, some simple routine stuff that you've done a million times, and you can just outsource that to something like ChatGPT, and you can focus on the more complicated stuff, because those are only, at least right now, only solvable by humans. Let me know down below if you'd like to see a video of me explaining how I integrate ChatGPT into my own workflow. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.